please don't hate me after this segment. I want to introduce you to the vibrant, intelligent Nikki Haley. I'm being too kind. So she used to be Donald Trump's ambassador to the United Nations, and she is, like a rabid pro-Zionist. Like she cannot. When Nikki Haley wakes up in the morning, the first thing and the only thing on her mind is to grovel before Israel. That is it. So here is Nikki Haley on Fox News. Okay.
But let's step back because I want the American people to kind of take this in for a second. Just imagine that here the Israelis woke up and communities were bombarded. Families were murdered. Women and children were taken hostage, dragged through the streets. The elderly were taken. All of this has happened in front of everyone, on top of thousands of rockets that hit Israel. This should be personal for every woman and man in America. Why? Because when they did this surprise attack, when they took these hostages, when they murdered these families, they were celebrating. And what were they celebrating? They were saying death to Israel, death to America. This is not just an attack.
I literally did not see or find one video of that. No one said death to America. She's getting her anti-Iranian and anti-Palestinian, stereotypes mixed up. Literally no one is saying that. But when people say that, well, it's because you give Israel $3.8 billion and they use that money to do things like, shooting autistic kids, right? Well, Iyad Halat was 32, but his mother said he has the mental age of a 7-year-old, and he was shot dead, and called a terrorist. So you see how much bearing this term has for the Americans. Or I don't know, putting 2 million people in, a ghetto, and then imposing a siege on them, and then tightening the siege this morning, dropping bombs on them, and then saying that because they were warned before, their building was demolished and their apartment destroyed and their life destroyed, that, because Israel warns them, they should bow before the Israelis and thank them for giving them for giving the Palestinians their own water. They should be grateful.
On Israel, this is an attack on America because they hate us just as much. And what we have,
pretty sure they hate Israel more. I'm pretty sure, because they're living on Palestinian land. That's what it's about. She's really funny because she was Donald Trump's ambassador to the UN, and she herself is now trying to run for president as a Republican, although you could have easily taken for a Democrat. And Donald Trump's motto or his campaign slogan was America first, and she always says America first. What does Israel have to do with this? Like, what it looks to me like you're putting Israel first. What does this have to do with you? Why I really want to know why people in America should give a crap about Israel. Why? Tell me why. America is an ocean away. Why? I know why Washington cares about Israel. I know that. I know why. And I know why London cares about Israel. Because driving a wedge between the Arab world, physically, geographically, to split the Arab world in two, and to have a giant goddamn base in the Middle East and on the Mediterranean Sea and bordering Syria and bordering Lebanon and Egypt and Palestine itself, to be on top of it is, of course, and to take the holy city. Yes, this is a jewel. It's a crown jewel. So obviously, Washington and London care very much, the politicians, about that. Why should the average American give a shit about Israel? Please tell me why. I want to understand, because so far you have given me nothing compelling.
Have to understand is this is the reason that we have to unite around making sure our enemies do not hurt our friends. America can never be so arrogant to think we don't need friends, just like we needed them on 9/11. That's why Ukraine needs us when Russia's doing this. That's why Israel needs us when Hamas and Iran are doing this. And I'll say this to Prime Minister Netanyahu: finish them. Finish them. Hamas did this. Iran's behind it.
I'd like to see him try. So far, he seems to be doing a terrible, terrible job. He was hiding for hours, but I'd like to see him try.
Finish them. They should have hell to pay for what they've just done.
I'm afraid you're finished, my dear. Your segment's up. But nevertheless, she is really an interesting person. You know, she's actually Indian. She changed her name, or I think she uses one of her middle names or something. That's the one that doesn't sound Indian. And, you know, she's trying so hard to be white that in her whiteness, she has assumed the dialogue, the language, and the role of the master, the white master, right, who has let her into the house. You know, again, I told you, Priti Patel, Suella Braverman, you know, they're Auntie Toms or Uncle Toms, right? They are slaves who think like the master, who worship the master, who speak like the master, and they believe sometimes in the master's cause more than the master himself. So she is trying so hard to pretend that she's white and to fit in with Washington, D.C. and this political elite, that she is just, you know, mimicking them, like word for word. She's even more. I mean, even Joe Biden does not go on and say Netanyahu finished them. I've never heard an American president say that. The fucking president. Well, she's trying to run for one, but she is not the president. She speaks like more rabid than Netanyahu himself. It's really a psychological case study, is it not? I mean, this is not just her segment. She goes on Twitter, like, you know, with these rants. Israel needs our help in this battle of good versus evil. Wow. Here's what we need to do immediately. Provide Israel with all arms and intelligence. I thought you already do. What's the $3 billion doing then? It needs to defend itself and destroy the terrorists in its midst. Place all regional governments, particularly the government of Lebanon, on notice that they must not allow the use of their territory to engage in this battle. What does that mean, the use of their territory to engage in this battle? What does that mean? You mean Hezbollah? Hezbollah is different from the government in Lebanon. Those are not the same thing. Besides, need I remind you, Israel is the one that killed 3 Hezbollah fighters today. So if you know, Lebanon or Hezbollah want to retaliate, it's well within their right. Yes? End American taxpayer support for all Palestinian entities or United Nations-backed entities that side with Hamas or fail to denounce anti-Semitic activity. Need I remind you, the government in Gaza is Hamas. So, you know, what do you mean end all activities and funding? I mean, they already have, right? The EU stopped funding and they've already... I mean, they've done everything they can to Gaza many times over. So this is just an empty tirade. She says, freeze Iranian access to the $6 billion in Qatari banks and send that money to Israel instead. Reimpose and enforce sanctions on Iran and on purchasers of Iranian oil. Yeah, okay, blah, blah, blah. You already did that. You know, she keeps saying that the United States gave Iran $6 billion. Okay. But you're saying here that they should freeze access to the $6 billion. How can the United States freeze access if the money is with Iran? Which one is it? Can the United States block the money or not? It can't be both at the same time. That, the Iranians have the money, but we can still block access to it. Which one is it? The truth is that the Iranians did not get the money. As she says, it's in a Qatari bank. But she wants you to think that the Iranians have it, right? And sending it. I mean, this bitch has grown bold, right? She's watching. She's seen the Russian money taken, right, from all these billionaires and given to the Ukrainians, and the $300 billion that is still sitting there, frozen, stolen is the better and more correct term. She is looking at this new tactic that's been employed, where you rob a government and then give it to another government that you like more, and thinking that, oh well, they can do the same thing now with Iran. I would really like to see you try, because the Russians, when you did that to the Russians, the whole world was like running in the other direction. And you've clearly not learned your lesson. You're still going to pay for that. You're going to pay for this by becoming less and less relevant, the dollar becoming less relevant. I mean, there's so much wrong with what she's saying. She's really crooked in many, many ways. Look, here's more of this.
Let me tell you what Hamas did. They went into the streets and celebrated, saying, death to Israel, death to America.
You stole their land. I really don't know how to make this clearer. When you go to somebody's country and you steal their land, they have the right to kick you out. That's just how it is. I don't know how to explain this any simpler than that. She's clearly not getting it.
Think about that. Death to Israel, death to America.
Dude, the difference is that they only say this. You actually kill them and inflict death upon them. You actually literally kill them. You bring literal death to Palestinians. True death. You murder them. You kill them. You finish them off. You know, and she's literally saying finish them off. Finish who off? Who? You know, Israel, for the most moral army in the world and all this high tech, they suck at targeting. That's the truth is that they are, you know, they're actively and purposely just randomly bombing Gaza. They don't give a shit. Anything for them is a terrorist target. Even Al Jazeera, you know. I know some people who watch Al Jazeera Arabic are probably laughing now because of how bad Al Jazeera can be sometimes. You know, it depends English, Arabic, so on. But no, seriously here. They bombed the Associated Press. This joke is getting worse. No, forget the media and how bad they can be. Listen, in 2021 in May, Israel bombed a tower where Al Jazeera and the Associated Press had offices in, and they were literally pleading with them on the phone, can you not fucking bomb our news outlet and the offices because we need to work? You are bombing 2 news companies, you know? Like, nope, we're going to bomb you. Shall I show you the video? Would you like to see it? Maybe Nikki Haley will get this through a thick head. Here's the Al Jazeera tower being bombed May 2021 in Gaza. In Gaza, same place, same everything, okay?
To get weapons out.
But there was no arguing, not even about the timing.
There you go.
Al Jazeera Gaza journalist Safwat Al-Khalout was live on air as he watched his workplace of 11 years vanish in front of him.
We panicked, frankly, we panicked.
Yeah? But remember, Hamas are the terrorists. Nikki Haley says so. Clearly a grand mind in geopolitics and international relations. The grand savant, Nikki Haley.
Think about that. Death to Israel, death to America.
Yes, I can't for the life of me imagine why someone would say that after you put them in a ghetto and, you know, blow everything up around them. I just can't understand why.
The Iranian regime hates us. You don't give money to a regime
that's not true. Iran does not hate Americans. They just hate some assholes in the CIA. That's it. That's it.
Hates America. Let me tell you what.
Yeah. So you understand how she is, right? She is not too different from, you know, someone like Ursula von der Leyen. I mean, not really. No. They stand for the same things. And you know, it's funny watching her because she's so, I don't know, she's wilder. She sometimes speaks wilder than even, you know, like the most rabid Zionists in Israel. Like, you know, even Netanyahu doesn't speak like this finish them off. He does it. He'll go and do it, which is worse. I understand. But it's funny watching her. She's so desperate to like be a good parrot, you know, a good doggy. Okay, well done. I think we can give her full marks. Do you all agree? Please comment in the chat. 11 out of 10. Well done, Nikki. You're fabulous. Jolly good show.